Everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the Roots of Ambition, folks. We are here. Me and Angel are here with Mr. Bryce Perez, man. I met this guy a few years ago. Our girls played Little League softball and then travel softball together. We kind of got to know each other, picking each other's brains, right? This one's going to be special. This one's actually really special to me because I get to bring out the energy because I have big energy when it comes to talking about fucking small business, man. And the avenues that we go through, the roller coasters of emotions, the late nights, the not wanting to fucking sleep because I got too much work and my dreams are too big, right? Yeah. I want to dive into this like straight up, man. But on top of that, my boy Bryce has a beautiful story. This guy you're looking at right now didn't look like this 3 years ago.
No.
His transformation, another guy that went into his cocoon, went in there and opened that bad boy up with his wings, and look at this guy, bro. You look fucking amazing, bro. Good stuff, dude.
Thank you. We're looking at about 115 pounds.
Wow,
weight loss.
Right on.
Over the last little bit over 2 years.
Right on, bro. We're gonna get into that. Yeah. We're gonna get into that. So just so everybody can just give them a quick introduction of these questions I'm gonna shoot at you right now. Okay. All right. So. What was your background and where did you come from, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of work are you into right now?
Okay, well, I'm, like you said, I'm Bryce Perez, born and raised in Antioch, California. Both came from both parents in the household. Been living in the Delta 42 years now. Love it. Love the water. Love the fishing. Love the small town feel. It's changed over the years, definitely. Yeah. You know, used to have to go to Lone Tree to Fairview just to get to Brentwood. You know, there was no bypass. There was none of that. You know.
So you saw it freaking just.
Yeah,
right?
You used to have to go down Contra Loma, turn left, and go by the airport to get out to Brentwood. You know.
Oh, wow. So hold on. Before you go on, so there was an airport here.
Yeah.
On Lone Tree, is that right? Or?
Yeah. So Lone Tree kind of ended. If I remember correctly, I was young. You know where Tailgaters and Antioch's at?
Yeah.
That was the end of Lone Tree, and it kind of turned to the right, like you're going by the golf course.
Yeah.
And then where that stop sign's at, to turn right to go to Contra Loma, you would turn left, and that was Fairview.
Oh.
And then,
okay.
And then not even a quarter mile down the road, there was an airport on the right-hand side.
Right on, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They told me that the other day. I'm like, oh, shit.
Just a small one, kind of like the Byron one, or?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Private, right?
Real small airport. But yeah, that's how you got out to Brentwood. I think it took about 25 minutes, half hour or something like that to get from Antioch to Brentwood. And,
no way, bro.
Yeah, 2-lane highway. And
my dad, I told him when I bought the house, last time he was here was like 30 years ago, maybe more. And he's like, what do you mean you live in Brentwood? There's nothing there. I was like, it looks a little different now.
It's a lot different now from what I hear, bro.
Yeah. No, it's a big change, but for the better.
Right on,
Definitely.
Bro. All right, Bryce. So check this out, bro. What line of work are you in right now? Like, what do you do? What do you do to make money besides your business? We'll get into the business later.
Yeah. Right now I'm a Local 39 stationary engineer. Kaiser building trades, basically. We maintain boilers, chillers, HVAC, plumbing, electrical.
Are you certified in all that?
So it's a 4-year apprenticeship program.
Okay.
What Local 39 does is they put guys through 4 years of schooling and teaches them all the trades.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn, bro.
I actually went through the IBEW electrical union.
Yeah.
And I got in when I was 30 years old. That one's a 5-year apprenticeship. So I went to school 2 nights a week for 5 years, worked full-time during that time. And once I journeyed out, a friend of my father's was working in the city as a stationary engineer.
Oh, right.
And what a lot of these buildings like to do is bring in a guy that's got an electrical background, a guy that's got a plumbing background, a little bit of everything. An HVAC guy. That way they have everyone under one umbrella. Yeah. That way, they don't have to call, the general contractor for certain stuff. Big projects, yeah. Stuff that, needs fixed or
there's someone in-house who can do it.
In-house can do it. And then we all kind of learn off of each other trades over the years, and then it's just one big ball of information,
bro.
and never stop learning. So
So did you step into those trades right out of high school?
No, so like I said, when I was 30 is when I got into the apprenticeship.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Got you.
Prior to that, I worked at Sutter Delta Medical Center in Antioch in materials management for 7 years. And prior to that, I worked for Wallace Termite and Construction out of Antioch.
That. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for them for, I want to say 3 years, almost 4 years or something like that until about 2007.
The recession hit
right
almost?
Right when the recession hit, and everything started slowing down. Houses weren't selling, and their line of work is termites, and then section 1 and 2 items that need to be done to fix a house in order to sell a house.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from those guys. Carpentry wise and stuff like that.
Communicate with them?
Yeah. Me and James Jawacum, he's the son-in-law of Dave Wallace. He's 2 years older than me. We went to high school together. So
is he local, James?
Yeah, you probably know James.
Yeah,
I think he's the freshman head coach for Freedom now. For baseball.
Yeah, bro.
But East County Little League, all that stuff.
Right on, bro.
So yeah, we still talk, with each other all the time. And
yeah, he threw me a couple little tub reglazing at some of his locations, bro.
Yeah. And I see him out from time to time.
Right on, bro.
And yeah, it's a small town, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I know, dude. Tell me about it. So here we go, bro. Who's the most impactful person in your life and why right now?
In my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say there's one person that's like super impactful in my life.
Okay. Fair enough.
My father's always been, my hero, my idol, where I kind of learned my work ethic and stuff like that from.
Yeah.
Mindset. He's always, even when the recession hit and everything else, I lost my job, and he's like, you just got to ride the wave. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Positive.
I was, how am I ever going to be able to buy a house? How am I ever be able to do this? The housing prices were $550,000, and for some reason, the real estate agents were telling me I could afford it at making $20 an hour. It just didn't make sense.
Right. And you're stressed out.
Yeah, the math wasn't mathing. So I'm glad I never made that leap and gotten into one of those interest-only loans.
Yeah.
But him. My mother. My wife is. She's a big influence on me. She's got my back.
Right on.
She takes care of me, takes care of the kids. She puts in a lot of hours. Maybe not at work, but at home. She works almost full time, and then she comes home and does what she's got to do.
How important it is to have a solid partner at your house with you in your life.
Oh,
bro.
man, if there's no way I could work graveyards and then try to run this business that I'm starting up to my meals are cooked, prepped, laundry's done, and it is kind of cool that I do work nights because I am able to pick the kids up from school when I'm not busy. And then also we have grandmothers on both sides of the family that help out.
Man.
That's huge.
Yeah, family. I guess you could say my whole family is my.
They're all impactful to you, bro.
Yeah, definitely, and they all
takes a village.
Absolutely, they all have my back. So
what's I was listening to your podcast with Nick Smith, bro.
Uh-huh.
It was awesome. You did a great job, dude.
Well,
were you a little nervous?
I was super nervous. I think we had to start over.
Are you better now, though? You look like you're comfortable, right?
A little bit better. Right a little bit better. I will say that they have some good editors.
Yeah.
After I saw that video, I told them too. I was like, man, I said they made me look good.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So yeah, it is a little nerve wracking. I've never been in front of a camera before like that. So,
right on. Hey man, we got to get comfortable, especially like entrepreneurs, bro. Like I always try to tell these young dudes, bro, like. If you stay in your lane and you're too comfortable, man, you're not gonna grow, bro.
Yeah.
Right. And like to me, like at the beginning when I started doing podcasts, I just I don't know. I'm like, I just got to do more because naturally for me, if I feel uncomfortable, I try to dive into it. Like I want to get to the point where I feel comfortable in that area, right?
Yeah.
And then what else can I do to start making myself more uncomfortable? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got another one for you, bro. what hustle did you have as a kid growing up in life? Because it sounded like you were always hands on.
Yeah.
You were blessed to have a father.
Yes.
That was able to teach you some good qualities, bro.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. We, I can remember being probably 8 or 9 years old, and every weekend we didn't have gardener back then, and none of that stuff. So it was I think we were probably up by 8 o'clock in the morning and
Cutting it up.
cutting the lawn. Had to use the blower, but he made sure we wore the earmuffs and all
Yeah.
that stuff. He was always working, doing side jobs. I shouldn't say always, but a lot of side jobs and.
He was trying to make that money, bro.
And
Take care of his family.
Absolutely, and like I said in Nick's podcast, I think I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I had a paintbrush in my hand.
Yeah.
and I better hold it right, because if I wasn't holding it right, I was getting yelled at.
Right.
So people don't realize there's a way to hold a paintbrush.
There sure is.
And a bucket.
Yeah. Wax on, wax off, dog.
Yeah. So that always working. And not a lot, even when as a teenager and stuff, he would do stuff around the house, crown molding, texturing the ceilings and stuff. He didn't necessarily have me helping him do that stuff all the time.
Right.
Still,
He still let you be a kid.
Was able to be a kid and stuff like that.
But even just being around it and seeing your dad do it, you pick up on it. Because I see that with my kids. Like, I do stuff and they pick up on it, even though they didn't help me. They're just, you're doing it so much.
I saw you,
Exactly. And I also noticed him too. Like, he might not necessarily knew how to like skip trowel texture that great, but as he did it more and more, he got better and better at it. You just got to keep after it, and you pretty soon you master it.
Hell yeah, bro.
What line of work was he in?
He was a union painter for 25 years.
Oh, so that's why you have to hold your
Now makes sense.
And very meticulous man too.
Especially like solid painters, bro.
Oh yeah. He was in the refineries most of his career too.
Oh,
so.
right on, bro.
But yeah, he's a very meticulous guy. You should see his garage, man. It's got not the pegboard, but the slat wall.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
dude,
And there's not a drop of nothing on the ground.
Bro, I tell you, I remember. I forgot where, somewhere in Miramar in San Diego, and there was two competitor paint companies, small companies, directly from each other in a plaza, right?
Okay.
So I was delivering some was it paint or paper or something to a company? I don't remember, but anyways, simultaneously, bro, the garage doors were both open. One painting company looked like a bag of shit, bro. There was paint everywhere, rags everywhere.
Yeah.
Just the cars were all full of paint. But this dude over here, bro, everything was immaculate, bro.
Yep.
There was no drop of paint on the floor, right? The trucks were nice and clean.
Yep.
And this dude was in business for like 20 years, and this guy was like 5 years.
The dirty guy.
The dirty guy, bro.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, like that always stood out to me. Like, that always stood out to me. How important it is to take care of your stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
Right. And because that's like one thing I always tell my technicians, like if you're taking my vehicle home, right? The trade is you're going to take care of my vehicle. You're going to keep it clean. When we come to work on Monday, it's going to be washed. I don't expect it to be perfect, but I want it to be clean.
Yeah.
Right? Inside and out. Your equipment's got to be clean. Your cab's got to be clean, right? The turbines that we have, it's got to be clean.
Right.
Right? Because I remember when I started doing sales a while ago in San Diego, and I remember I was really particular on how to make sure keeping my truck clean, making sure I was clean, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I showed up to an apartment complex, and they had like 5 of us there, 5 different reglazers there, because they wanted to do 390 tub reglazers there.
Okay.
Bro, each and every dude showed up with paint on their face, paint on their hands, bro, their clothes, their trucks were dirty. And I was the only one, like, I took the time to switch out of my clothes. I scrubbed my hands, I scrubbed my face, bro. Went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, you know what I'm saying? Then I walked in there, and they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm with this company." They're like, "You're a tub reglazer?" Like, "Well, yeah." Like, "What are you guys? Tub reglazers." "Well, why aren't you dirty?" I was like, "Well, because I don't keep my shit dirty, but I keep my stuff clean, right?"
Yeah.
2 weeks later, hey, you're rewarded 390 tubs. And I asked them, I asked the dude, I was like, hey, bro, there was 5 of us there. I know I wasn't the cheapest.
Right.
And I know I wasn't the most expensive. Can you just tell me, educate me on why I was picked? He's all, because you were the most presentable one there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bro, and that stuck with me the rest of my career, bro.
Yeah.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Well, because you, as a customer, or like,
Yeah.
if you treat your stuff that way, that makes me think like,
Well, how you gonna treat mine?
right, like
Yeah.
the things that I don't see and don't cash, you're gonna try to cut corners because you're
Yeah.
cutting corners with your cleanliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your trucks and everything, because I notice that also all the time.
All
All
the
we're
time,
hiring
bro.
vendors. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want this dude inside my house.
Yeah.
Hell no, bro.
I have people when I drop off the trailer for them to use it to dump and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They're like, I don't even want to throw anything in here. It's too
It's so clean.
Yeah,
That's right, bro.
Yeah, and I said, don't worry about it. That's what it's for.
That's right.
I just like to keep it that way.
That's big dog. Big dog.
Learn that from you too.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. All right, let's see here. I got another good question for you, bro. As of this time in your lifestyle, your life, bro, right now, what has been one of the biggest failures in your life?
I think my biggest failure would be that I didn't decide to stop drinking sooner in my life to get to where I'm at now.
Right.
I always knew I had the ability to do stuff on my own. I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. But I think the alcohol got in the way, and you go out and you party. You don't want to wake up necessarily the next morning and get after it.
Yeah.
Head foggy, stuff like that. Wish I would have done it. 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
I was still having fun and stuff like that, but it
Yeah.
got to a point to where it wasn't fun anymore, and I was like, let's see what happens if I give life 100%.
Yes, sir.
And the last little over 2 years, things keep getting better and better. Can't complain.
Hell no, bro.
No,
you know what they say, bro? When's the best time to plant a tree?
I don't know. What do they say?
There's two.
there's two.
One 20 years ago, and the second one right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
You know what I mean? And that's like one thing I learned a little while ago myself, bro. But good stuff, dude. Good stuff. Hey, we're moving on here, bro. So this is a question that I like to ask a lot of new entrepreneurs. All right. Would you stay at a 9 to 5 and be comfortable, right, the rest of your life? Or would you spend the rest of your life building a company, gambling on yourself and making endless amount of money, but living uncomfortable the rest of your life?
I don't see as gambling on yourself as being uncomfortable. It maybe make you a little anxious. You don't have that retirement necessarily that okay, I'm going to be getting $10,000 a month when I hit 62 or 65 or whatever like that. But the opportunity to grow a business and have generations behind you that can expand on what you created is my ultimate dream. You know what I mean? I have a young son,
Absolutely.
a very smart daughter, and they could have insight on things I don't, and I just see the way the world's moving right now, and in the trades and stuff like that. There's not a lot of people that are hands on like that anymore,
bro.
Right.
And
It's a dying breed.
yeah, and who's gonna do the work? I can't do the work much longer. I can.
Yeah.
If I had to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want
100%.
to expand, and I want to bring people in, and I want to show them that way they can expand. just like a pyramid, right?
That's right.
Grow it.
Develop a system and let the system run, bro.
and learn as I go.
I tell people I got to the point where I can finally lift the hood, make sure the oil's in there, make sure it's running, pistons are good, the battery's good, new tires, brake. She's ready to fly, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it took me years to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You dig what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is a random question. This is kind of new, but
Okay.
I'm curious to see what you say. And think about it before you answer.
Okay.
If you could be any animal in this world, what would you be and why? I'll do a little curveball inside the middle of all this.
Any animal. I mean, first thought that came to my head was a gorilla.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You can kick 100 men's asses, bro.
yeah. ain't no one wanna mess with a gorilla.
Hell no, bro.
But then the second thing that came to my head was a sheepdog.
Oh,
Yeah, you know,
A sheepdog.
I forget the movie I watched a long time ago, but there was two boys, and that's what the father told him. He said, you know, I raise sheepdogs. You know, we protect the ones that can't protect themselves.
American Sniper.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful, bro.
And that always resonated with me. You know, I've always been a bigger guy, bigger kid, always a little bit larger than everyone else my age, you know, when growing up. And
With the big heart.
yeah, I never let the kids, the bullies bully the kids that,
Right on,
you
bro.
know, couldn't defend themselves. You know,
100%.
not to say I got in a bunch of fights or anything
Right.
like that, but I wasn't gonna let it happen when I was around.
Right
You
on,
know,
bro.
so I guess that's what I'd be, as a sheepdog.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Like
I have an
brothers?
older brother.
Oh, you do?
I do. Yeah. He's
Oh,
2
okay.
years older than me.
Right
and,
on, bro.
And he's my older little brother.
Oh, right on.
I got one of those too, bro.
So yeah. I think I got the German side of the family.
Yeah.
You know, and he got the Mexican side of
Yeah.
the family. I don't know, but my uncles are all 6'2", so
Oh,
on the Mexican side. So I don't know.
yeah.
But
So who's German? Your mom or
my mom,
Really?
yeah, German and Irish. You know,
No shit.
yeah, Koffenberg,
Where did they meet at, bro? Your mom and dad?
Oakley.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
my father went to Liberty, and my mother, she lived in Port Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And my aunt was at her friend's house one night or something like that, and called my mom and said, "Hey, you got to come over here and meet this guy," or something like that. So,
Respect, dude.
yeah. And then I think after 6 months of dating, he asked her to marry him, and that was it, man.
Damn.
I was like,
wow,
man,
bro.
I said, that's ballsy.
That's a wrap. I gotta give me that right
must have been in love, I guess, you know.
Yeah, bro.
And they're still together.
Your
so it
dad
worked.
grew up here too, as well. Then.
Yeah, my dad grew up in Oakley. Went to Liberty High School. Was on the wrestling team and stuff like that. Speaking of my brother being a smaller or whatever, you know, I think my dad told me he wrestled 97s as a senior in high school.
What?
Oh, shit.
97s. Yeah.
Damn.
So he said he bench pressed 315 too. So I don't know.
He was a strong dude, bro.
Yeah. And then but grew even before that. You know, he said he worked with my grandparents in the fields and stuff
Right
like
on.
that. You know, so they've been around for years and years and years.
So is your pops originally from here?
Yeah.
Right on. Born
Not Brentwood, Oakley though.
Oakley, but yeah, just
right
area.
on right off of Highway 4. I can't remember the name of the street right now. Right.
Is he first generation here? Or
So I'm
second?
6th generation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So both of my grandma and grandpa were from New Mexico.
Okay.
So yeah, we've been here a while.
Right on, bro.
Yeah, actually, my grandmother used to say when she was in school in America that when she would speak Spanish, they would hit her with a ruler.
Wow.
Bro, that's
Because
crazy.
she was
shit.
speaking Spanish. So I guess she didn't really want my father and siblings to
get
learn
hit like
that
that.
stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
unfortunately, I don't know how to speak Spanish.
Right.
Not at all.
No. My daughter knows how to speak Spanish better than me.
Yeah.
Right on,
You know,
bro.
she's in Spanish 4 or something, you know, and
You ever think of learning it? I mean, in the industry, in the business
I
you guys
really
have.
I really wish I did, because I remember 20 years ago I'd go to the lumberyard when I was working at Wallace and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they would come up to me and start
Hey,
speaking
you're
Spanish, and I'm like, I don't know, and then
No
they'd-
Nintendo.
yeah, they'd shake their head at me.
You got the nopal right here,
yeah,
bro.
they'd shake their head at me, and then they'd start talking shit in Spanish, and
They
I knew
think
they were
you're just
talking
being an
shit.
ass.
I just didn't know what they were
I don't know what
saying.
you're saying, but I know you're talking shit.
Right. But I
Damn.
really, at some point I do gotta, take some sort of I can't do a class where someone's talking to me. About it. But I know they have so many different avenues.
My youngest is learning it through Duolingo.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of those like that.
He's been doing it every day because I offer him $1,000 if he becomes fluent.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Like,
Right on,
like if you can be fluent, read a full book in Spanish that I pick, and have a 10-minute conversation with my mom's, his grandmother.
Yeah.
I'll give you $1,000.
Right on.
So he's been like, for reals? I'm like, what can I lose? If
right.
you learn,
No, just straight up, dude.
Yeah.
cheaper than
it's
tuition.
definitely worth its weight in gold, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for networking purposes alone.
I mean, especially now, bro. Like any location you go to, is a lot of Spanish speaking, bro. You know what I mean? It just gives you an advantage.
Well, and in the construction industry, a lot of your workforce is going to be primarily Latino, and so speaking,
you know all the bad words though, huh?
Yeah. and no crema on my tacos, you know what I mean?
that's a good one.
God damn it! All right, here we go, bro. Here we go. So I'm gonna kind of go back and forth in your life a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna save the best for kind of the middle and then the last.
Okay.
All right. But I'm asking you a question because you and I both have daughters that are graduating this year, right? Your daughter's graduating?
Yep, June 7th.
So I'm wrestling with something, and I really haven't talked to my boy about it. So I'm kind of bringing this out. I didn't go to college, and I don't want to say I'm super successful. I just would say I'm doing okay, right? And I did try to go to junior college. It just school since I was a child was never for me. I just hated school. But I learned really quick by people's actions. I was able to put a map together on, the way people did things, how they said things, right? I was never like a book person. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm just the same way.
You know what I'm saying? So I met a man, I want my daughters to go to school, right? But on the same token, I'm like, I don't know if you really need school, right? Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to, because they're going to do, I'm going to push them, and whatever they want to do, I'm going to support them.
100%.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to drop whatever dollars I need to drop, as long as you're busting your ass and you're doing it, and you're a good person, and you're kind to people, and you respect yourself, you know what I mean? And you're working hard, and you're chasing your dream, and you have some kind of ambition for yourself, I'm there for you.
Yep.
You know what I mean, right? But I'm asking you from a father to father with the girl, right? How do you feel about her leaving to college?
She's pretty mature for her age, I feel like. She, like I said, when I got here, she just got back from LA. Her boyfriend lives in San Clemente.
Yeah.
When last summer, when they were on summer break, she went to a retreat, or not a retreat, but they ran like a government. They started a government up in Sac State. She was there for a week.
Oh, really?
And that's where she ended up meeting him. They took all some kids that had real high GPAs and stuff like that, and offered them to go and kind of get the college experience and stay in the dorms. It's scary, but I think you got to let them go. You got to cut it, man. You got to let it fly. It's definitely scary being a father of a daughter. They're naive to the world out there. I try to be as open and honest with her and all my kids as I can about things that go on.
Yeah.
But I'm not too worried about her. You know what I mean?
Right
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
That's a great thing.
I think some people are kind of overprotective sometimes. I'd like to let my kids experience a little bit of life, and they could always come back home if they need to,
100%.
But she's good to go with me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right on, bro.
Yeah.
Where's she going to college?
She got accepted to Nevada and Sonoma State, and then she didn't get into. She wants to be an RN, so she didn't get into the RN program up in Sonoma State.
Okay.
So she's going to be here for another at least year and a half.
Okay.
So she's going to go to LMC and get her prereqs done, and then I think she wants to go to Sonoma State. So and it's close.
Yeah, dude. Man, that's what I was telling my daughter. Like, dude, you don't have to go right away. And I was trying to tell her, it's not that I want to keep you here, but like for me, bro, I didn't have a childhood, right? Like I really didn't have too much of a childhood because I had my son at a very early age, so I had to move, bro, right? So, I mean, I was doing a lot of dumb stuff and having parties, but I never really got to enjoy being a child, bro, right? I always had responsibilities or my trauma issues with the stuff that happened to me growing up, right? But like I told my Bella, man, my Bella wants to fly, bro. She's like, man, fuck this shit. Put me on the plane, bro, and I'll see you guys in freaking Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, bro. For a lightweight, I was like, oh shit. She's ballsy, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but what I guess the point I'm trying to say, the other point of where I was going, bro, is like, do you really feel at this time and age that college is really a way for these kids to go nowadays? Because we're privy to so much information. We have computers, we have applications, we have AI, right? And if you really talk to a lot of these millionaires and billionaires throughout the country or the world, 99% of them didn't go to college, bro.
Or they dropped out.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Depending on, what they want to do,
Right.
like for Jade.
But for a nurse, you're right.
It's a trade.
Yeah.
She has to do the prereqs and the schooling for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of some of the majors and stuff is a lot of bullshit. To be honest.
Okay, so we're on the same page with that.
I think there's some scam and taking people's money, and it's been for 20, 30 years now. It's been forced down people's throat. You got to go to college to get a good job. You got to go to college to get a good job. I make more doing what I do right now.
Yeah.
Than some people with degrees. Not all of them.
No, but
not all of them.
But yeah, bro.
So there's a lot to be said about hustling and learning and picking things up as you go.
So I remember I worked for this guy, and he said he called me one day. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna train this dude, right? He's gonna basically do what you do." And I was talking to the kid. I was like showing like this kid was green. He had no idea, bro, what he was doing, and he was telling me he had just graduated from San Diego State. He's got a business degree and et cetera, right? And then I found out through the grapevine that he's making fucking $10 more than me an hour. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. So, I bit my tongue around. I'm like, hold on, how the fuck this makes sense when I'm training him?
That was his first mistake.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, he
ain't been in the real world.
I ask a lot of questions, big dog. That's just, you from the streets, you got to find shit out, right? So I'm asking him questions, and I'm like, well, I gave him a couple beers at the bar, he started getting real loose. So I'm like, what? I wanted to take him to the bathroom and whoop his ass, bro. But it wasn't his fault, right?
No.
Right? So then I started going back to work, right? And just kind of started showing, standing out even more than I was, working harder, bringing in new clients, making more money, bro. And I walked up to dude and I'm like, bro, why is this dude making $10 more than me, and I've been here for X amount of time. This is my value here, right?
Right.
This is what I've proven to you, right? And he's always because he has a degree in college, and I'm like, but he's stupider than a fucking bag of rocks, bro.
Yeah.
This guy can't hold a spoon or a fork or a knife next to me, dog.
Right.
And he kind of looked. He's like, no, you're right. Just give us something. I'm like, no, bro. We got to fix this immediately, or I'm jumping ship. You got 2 days to give me an answer, bro. And sure enough, bro, 2 days later, you got $12. Now train them. I'm like, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's always been my thing. So every person I meet with the education from college, I'm not saying they're dumb.
Right.
But a lot of them don't have that life work experience, bro. Right? So I asked this question one more time, do we really need college? Specific jobs, do they really need college for these things, bro?
No, there's a lot of jobs that don't.
They don't, right?
Because if you're going to have a job...
Because you don't have a degree, and this guy is the man where he works.
Same thing. I make more than a lot of people with degrees. If you're going to have a job that does not require you, you want to be in the trades or whatever, and you don't need to have a degree, all you're doing is you're wasting 4 years of work experience.
Prolonging.
Exactly.
And so you're showing up late to the game.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
And I seen that happen, when I was in my early 20s, I'll have people come and start doing what I was doing in the company that I was working in with the college degree at the same position that I was, but I had so much more skill. I went right past them in a hurry.
Easily.
Yep.
Because by the time they catch me, I'm already 4 years ahead.
Yeah.
So
You already have those tools in your box.
yeah. And you go into an interview or to another job, they come in with theories. I come in with like, well, this is what this is all things I done, not the things I think I can do because I have a degree.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's what I done.
Right. I've already proven that. I've already proven myself in
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
All right, big dog. Let's keep it rocking and rolling, homie. All right. So you talked about being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Right? You having your issues. What was the final, bro? Because I look at you, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm looking at you right now, and it's like weird, like God damn, it's inspiring, bro. It really is, and I'm
you.
telling you that in front of everybody, bro. I admire that shit because that's something I've been working on myself, and we'll get into my story, but it's more you. So when I see you, bro, I'm in awe. I was telling him before he got here, like, this dude, look at these pictures, bro. Look at what he's done, right?
Yeah.
What was it for you? Like, I want you to paint the picture to them. Like, what was it you say, fuck this shit. I need to make a change. I need to burn the ships and I need to get myself better. Not just for myself, but for my family around me. What was it? What day was it? What moment was it that you just snapped and said, I'm done?
I think it was probably a day when I was hungover, decided I would go get another couple tall cans to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I think I probably went and got a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I told my wife I wanted to kill myself. And that was, I was like, I'm not an unhappy person.
Yeah.
So there's a reason behind this.
Yeah.
And I've been through the binge drinking, and then I know what's going to happen. You got your highs, and then you got your lows.
Right.
I can't be living or laying in bed for 2 days feeling sorry for myself because I did it to myself. It really had an effect on my mental health. Jade lives with her mother, and our relationship had been strained for a while there. She didn't like the drinking and everything else that was going on. Jade, my oldest.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
How old was she when she kind of recognized that with you? Like,
I think she was 14 or 15 when she decided she'd had enough. She's 18 now.
okay.
So, yeah, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, bro.
So yeah, and it was just like I have a good job. I have the house. I have family, the kids. Things people would kill to have or dream of having. Everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
But I'm over here feeling some sort of way.
Yeah. You feel
Why is that?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, there's got to be something chemically wrong. And I was like, okay, well, let's take the chemicals out of it. Let's take the poison out of it and see what happens. And there's still days where or a couple days where you're down and out and stuff like that. But it was never like I'd never have thought that before.
Right.
And that was scary.
So that was at the pinnacle of the worst you were at.
That was my worst. Yeah.
So did you ever follow through and try to kill yourself, bro?
No.
But you were having the thoughts.
Right. Yeah. But that being said, I have pistols and stuff like that.
Shit.
Won't keep ammo in the house though.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Smart. Yeah.
I've been like that since I was younger.
Yeah.
I just didn't want any accidents or nothing to happen. And you get blacked out. You don't know what's going to happen.
Amen, brother.
It's unfortunate that it's so socially acceptable. And it seems like it's trending to more and more people are getting sober.
Yeah.
So there's more awareness of the effects of the alcohol that has on the persons.
Yeah.
But just like the smoking, who didn't smoke back in the 70s,
Right.
or even 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still kind of remember there being smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants and
airplanes.
and on airplanes.
Right.
Or the ashtrays in the cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the culture's changing for the better, I think, but
People are becoming more aware.
that being said, there's other things too, that are not great. But that was my lowest point. Being depressed and suicidal and actually saying it,
Actually telling someone,
scaring the shit out of somebody, So yeah, that was it, man. And that was about the point, on top of health issues and everything else. So
right on, bro.
Yeah.
Damn, beautiful, dude. So you said something that resonates with me on the podcast with Nick.
Mm-hmm.
You said the alcoholic fantasizes about drinking like a normal person.
Yeah.
Can you explain that what that means to you?
So I'll explain my
I know
fantasy.
what it means. And yeah,
I'll explain my fantasy.
Yeah.
Of what it was sitting in a room like this.
Yeah.
With a whiskey neat.
Yep.
And some music in the background. And enjoying that drink.
Yep.
Nice and quiet by myself.
100%.
Or maybe with somebody else, but not much conversation and just kind of relaxing.
Right.
And like I said, I was on vacation when I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll have that drink. And then I didn't, because when we were down in Disneyland, there was a trade show or something going on, and that everyone that was at the trade show was staying at the hotel we were in. So that bar was packed.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be around a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't do it, and I'm glad I didn't, because like I had said, I went to a meeting when we had gotten back home, and that's when that was said. That an alcoholic fantasizes about being able to drink home. I don't know where that one drink would have led.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In that area, and that vibe, right?
Yeah,
dude.
So I had it set up the way I imagined it. Like that was my fantasy. It wasn't like just going to the store and getting a bottle and drinking. It was, I had this whole thing, man.
Yeah, bro.
and I never hung out at cigar lounges or nothing like that, or you know what I mean. So it was just that was my thought of. That was the normal.
But that's also what they've been telling us in the movies.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
I might have had a tuxedo on too. I don't know.
There we go.
Let's see here. So, how did you? So, I mean, I know, but I want to kind of I want you to reiterate it. Mm-hmm. How did you battle the suicide thoughts? What are some of your mental workouts for suicide thoughts now? Right.
Yeah.
Now, since you've been sober for these 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Has your brain ever went back to that?
No.
Okay.
There has been days when I've been down.
Okay.
I guess mildly depressed or whatever you want to call it. But I think everyone has those days.
Yeah.
And you just have to realize that those are just some days.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Life gets hard. There's things that are constantly getting thrown at you all the time.
Amen to that.
I think men's mental health isn't really talked about as much, right? It's getting more and more talked about, more and more openness.
Yeah.
But there's days where it's bad, or not bad. I shouldn't even say that. But what I started to do was, even if the days I didn't want to go to the gym or something like that, I would just go for a walk, clear my head. I love the water.
Yeah.
So that's where I would
being
go.
around the water on the lake.
And they say the something about the water boosts people's moods and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Gives me time to think, be by myself and stuff like that. Put the phone down.
Yeah.
Put it down for a half hour, put it down for an hour, just be by yourself, or be with someone you want to be with or whatever. But that's what really helps me is, and then, I do go to the gym and stuff like that. But more so being by myself, walking, thinking about thoughts and processing my thoughts, and my past thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, and how maybe I handled things the wrong way, and how I can handle them now and stuff like that. So that's what I do.
Right on, bro.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the moment that you told, because I remember I went through a similar situation. I'm not sure if you heard.
I saw that.
You saw it?
Yeah.
So what was the reaction with your wife when you actually said it out loud? Like, one, how did you feel? And two, how did she react?
She started crying, and she immediately came over and gave me a hug, and it's hard to put someone through that.
Right.
But I had to say something to somebody, and it might as well be my best friend. You know what I mean? But who else is better to tell than your best friend?
100%, brother.
And I think I had told my another one of my good friends at one point when I'd been drinking that that I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit harder for men to be like, he said, "Yeah, I'm here for you, man," or whatever. But it's still that
Yeah. There's a stigma still.
Exactly. So
the ego, the pride in there.
Yeah,
bro.
and sometimes you have to be. You got to be vulnerable,
Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
And
that's what real men do, though.
Yeah.
Man. It's okay.
Yeah, no one wants to lose anybody they love,
No,
or
not
anybody
at all.
for that matter. So, yeah, it was, she just sat there and held me, and
So, I want like people to understand, like they're, because I'm sure there's a man out there that's going through it right now, right? Don't have anyone to talk to, because I tell you right now, bro. When I came out and after all my years of just battling different drug addictions, hiding from my family, from my friends, from my wife for so many years, it just came out ugly, bro. Right? But when I went to speak to someone for the first time and I started, it finally came out my mouth, and the response that she gave me, the counselor, the psychiatrist, whatever you want to call them, it blew my mind, because, in my head, I just imagine people laughing at me.
yeah,
People making fun of me, right? Because where I come from, you just didn't talk about your feelings.
Right.
Whatever happened to you was swept under the rug. Don't worry about it. Shut up and just keep going on.
yeah.
Right? So what was when you told your wife, how did that make you feel, bro? Did it feel like it helped you, like it decompressed a little bit, or was it more just like I just needed to tell someone?
I probably just needed to tell somebody. And I might have mentioned being depressed and stuff like that before, so I wouldn't say it was like a sigh of relief, but it definitely, maybe it did open up myself to be able to talk about it more, especially with like other people and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of friends from high school and past that have gone through things that are way worse than I have, and if they could get through it, man, there's no reason I can't.
Exactly,
you know what I mean,
bro.
And they were open and honest about everything, So I give a lot of credit to people that can actually put it out there and tell their story, and because it helps the next guy,
Yeah, 100%.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't say it was a big sigh of relief, and it probably took a while for the alcohol and stuff like that to get out of my system before.
How long do you think did it take you, bro?
Well, I would say probably maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Still.
Were you kind of felt just a little bit better?
Yeah, I would still go on walks and have those thoughts of, man, I messed up, man, this and that.
Yeah.
I messed this up, I messed that up, and would kind of dwell on that stuff, and sometimes I do still a little bit, but I've learned that everyone makes mistakes and stuff like that, and what would it be? Who would I be, or what would I be if I didn't correct it? I think a lot of people are like, oh, people are going to think I have a problem. Well, people already know you have a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Who you're going to be if you fix it is a lot better version of yourself.
Amen.
Instead of continuing down the road.
No one's going to make fun of you.
No.
For fixing yourself, making yourself a better person.
100%,
So
bro.
that's
And
the way.
if somebody's making fun of you, get that fool out your circle.
You don't need them.
Get them out of your circle.
Yeah. And then when I hit 2 years, some of my best friends, hey man, super proud of you. Like,
Yeah, bro.
They're like, there's no way I could ever do it, and it's not like they have an issue,
Right.
or anything like that. But even themselves saying, I can go a couple months, but then I still like to do this and do that.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I would like to too, but I'm not gonna try.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got too much stuff going good right now.
Yeah, bro.
So
That's
and I don't miss it now. it took maybe about a year and a half. Every once in a while, I'd crave a drink. You know? But now I don't crave it at all, man.
Right
I
on,
just
bro.
I just take it on the chin and roll with the punches.
Yeah,
you know.
I give you credit too. You said like you still go out to bars, bro,
Yeah.
and you chill out, and you're
Yeah.
disciplined.
Not
and,
not often, but I've
well,
been.
when you go,
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. Yeah, I have a water or a Red Bull or whatever.
and you still
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Every once in a while I have one of those Heineken Zeros or something like
Yeah.
that. And when I first stopped drinking, I had those. Not a lot of them,
Yeah.
but I would have them, and it would kind of like especially on in the summer,
Yeah,
Right.
quench
when it's
the
hot.
thirst.
Yeah, you're out there working or something. And every once in a while I'll still have one, but they don't really water
Right on, bro.
water and Diet Coke.
Those 3 months started right after you told your wife, or how long after you told her did you
Man.
actually stop
When you
drinking?
started just
Yeah, you're probably right, because I probably told her that, and I probably still drank after that. Maybe I told her 2 months before I actually stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go probably a week or so and be like, I feel good. I think I'm okay.
yeah.
And then it would be the 3 days of
You started fooling yourself.
of bullshit.
Right. Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And then I was like, okay, here we are again.
Yep.
There's those feelings again.
Yes, sir.
And then go 2 weeks. I could just drink some beers.
Yeah.
And beers turned into whiskey for me.
Yeah, bro.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, the beers wasn't doing it.
Just had to pee all day, bro. Yeah. I got one for you, bro. And I think this is beautiful because I relate to it, man. But you said something also. What do you mean about growing up with your daughter now? Like you actually, because you had her at such a young age, right?
Yeah.
She kind of see you go through the party phase, the young father phase, the
Yeah.
drinking phase, acting belligerent, right? And in a way, like it kind of forced her to mature a little bit faster,
For sure.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you say you grew up with her, how do you mean like that?
Well, I was 22 or 3. I can never get it right. I'm not good with numbers, but I was still a kid. Like I see these kids that are down at my buddy's stereo shop working, and he's 21, about to be 22, and I'm like, man, I had a kid at that age.
Yeah.
I said that kid looked like a baby right now. You know what I mean? And I was like,
Because they
I
are
was-
babies.
Yeah, and I thought I was a grown man at the time.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
But so yeah, she was there, and I was still living with roommates. I remember crawling around at 10 months old, and I had 3 roommates, and we were just drinking Bud Lights or whatever and partying. And she did have to grow up young. We actually call her Mama Jade.
Oh, really?
She helped raise because she's 18, Cruz is 13,
Yeah.
and Ryan's 9.
Yeah.
So we always called her the responsible one. Be like my mother too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but she's a different breed anyway.
Yeah.
She really is. She's very mature for her age, and she's very driven, and she don't take no bullshit.
That's right,
So,
bro.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. So do you talk to her about drinking and
Yeah. She knows my whole story.
yeah.
She knows. She saw the podcast that I did with Nick.
Yeah.
I'm open and honest with her about everything.
Okay.
She knows everything.
So, but do you talk to her about her picking up the drink? Like,
Oh, she said
she's still young.
She said
She's
she'll
still
never
young.
drink.
Right.
I've never said that, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I pretty sure I jaded her enough
Yeah.
to where
Say,
she don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are, those are one of those negatives that I feel like's a positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We'll see what happens in the future. Her mom doesn't really drink. So she had 2 different options, 2 different households to live in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's seen both sides. She's seen screaming matches and stuff like that, and she definitely knows how she wants to live. So
Yeah.
things can change.
Right.
Yeah, bro. 100%.
But I don't think they're gonna with her.
Yeah. Stubborn?
Yeah,
Stubborn?
a little bit.
Yeah. All right, bro. Oh man, before I move on, bro, man, I can't tell you enough, man. What you're doing is amazing, bro. Don't stop.
Thanks.
Don't stop for anybody, for anything, man. Just keep grinding away, bro. Keep staying positive. You know, it's funny how the clearer that we become, you know, the better our brain gets, the better decisions we make, right? The better we're able to listen, right? More aware of things that we weren't usually aware of before.
100%.
You dig what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, a lot of things like slid through the cracks because you weren't fully there.
Right.
And now that you're fully there, like, oh, you know, no, we're not gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
Right. Because
you
know what I'm saying? Did that make sense?
Yeah. That patience,
bro.
Patience. I always think about what I'm gonna say before I say it.
Yeah.
Or what I would have said in the past, and why would I have said that?
Yeah.
Or is this even a big deal?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Reminded me,
yeah. Why? Well, that's not a big deal. Why am I going to even speak on it?
Yeah,
right.
You know,
why even waste my time on it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this before we move on. So, my biggest problem, bro. My biggest problem is, you know, I mean, I had a lot of different drug addictions, right? And the one that's been lingering for me is the alcohol, right? It's not that I drink it every day, but there's times if I drink just enough, that rooster in here pops out, that asshole, that guy that just don't care about anything or anyone, and he's just mad at the world, right? So that's kind of why, like, I had a recent event. Long story short, I just, you know what? After it happened, I'm like, you know, I'm not saying I'm gonna stop forever, but right now I'm gonna just go one more day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just my mentality. Just one more day.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of really paying attention to what's going on in here, bro, right? And before, like, my brain would take me down a rabbit hole and it would take me back 20, 25 years ago when I was a child. And then at that point, it just erupts. And now I'm just mad at everybody around me, right? But now that I'm, you know, month and a couple weeks sober, 100% sober from any alcohol, any substance, besides cigars. I love cigars, bro.
Yeah.
But cigars mellow me out. They make me chill, bro. I feel very calm. I feel at ease. Like, I don't even want to, like, think about arguing with anyone, right? It just puts me in a really good state of mind. So the one thing I did realize is, if there was ever like a week that I would go without drinking, I would always be very fucking irritable, right? And I would always be on the edge with anger, right? And right now, which is very awesome, is like, I'm really trying to focus on not being angry, right? Or just really, like, there's a quote I read: whatever angers you controls you, right? Because when you're in anger, you say things that you don't really mean to say, or you're upset, or you're acting out on something, or you get in someone's face, or you just become controlled by whatever that object or thing that got you upset.
Right.
How did you ever have an anger problem?
Oh, yeah.
You did, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel now? Like, since you're really sober, do you really pay attention to those kind of thoughts now? Like, if there's ever a situation that would have got you angry, how do you handle it now that you're sober?
Yeah, I don't really get angry anymore. I wasn't necessarily a mad or a unhappy or a mean drunk, but things would piss me off.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, now I just don't put myself in those situations with certain people.
Yeah.
You know, I steer clear of people that might irritate me. It's not very fun being sober around a bunch of drunks.
No.
You know what I mean? But I think the clear-headedness of everything is like I said a little bit ago, it's like, why is that going to bother me?
Yeah.
Why even speak on it? On top of things that make you angry, you know, like I was telling you guys earlier today, you know, dealing with the internet and stuff like that.
Right.
Before you would have got upset.
Shit's gonna happen. Like, what am I gonna do about it? Go get a bottle or go drink for what? Like, because my day was inconvenienced for a half hour.
Yeah,
you know.
But with stuff like that, would that drag on for you before?
It would give me a reason to go
drink,
to have a drink.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's life. Every day is something's gonna piss you off. A little something, but like I think the older we get as men too, I'm 42 now. I think like you just realize like even like people in traffic or that you might get cut off or something like that.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, because you're gonna end up at the same stoplight as them anyway, and then they're gonna feel stupid. So, I don't get too angry too much.
Right on, bro.
Yeah, I've always been kind of even keeled.
All right, here we go, man. We got another one for you. So, if you could write a letter to your younger self, your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give him? Everything that you know now.
What would I give him? I would just probably say, go after what you want, and that's what I tell my kids. Don't waste time. I did the whole. I went to junior college and I played football at junior college, and I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. Limit your partying. Just talk to somebody if you think you might have an issue. Don't try to hide it. Don't that shit ain't cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go like my biggest thing with all my kids too is figure out what you want to do and do it 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give it your all. If you give it your all for let's say 20 to 25, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, you tried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always a plan B.
Always.
But the plan B should be plan A, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't always work out, but if you give it 100%, I bet very few people fail that give it 100%. Like if they really lock in,
absolutely.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you really lock in there and you're determined, there ain't no way you're gonna fail.
Well, and it's also the challenge with your circle. Like, unfortunately for some people, family members are their worst enemies as well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
but I'm sure you're in their ear positively, man.
You have,
know what I mean?
You have to be.
Yeah.
Bro. And you gotta, sometimes family ain't family.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes friends are family.
100%, bro.
You grow up learning. That's my family. That's my mother. That's whoever.
Yeah.
That's still your mother. Bro.
Yeah.
That they want to drag you down and make them feel the way they feel about themselves for some reason.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Crabs in the bucket, bro.
Yep. So.
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty now, bro. Let's get to the nitty. No, the nitty gritty is starting our business, homeboy.
Oh, okay.
Let's go, baby. All right, let's go, man. All right, so what's the name of your business, brother?
I'm TB Hauling and Construction Services.
All right, what do you do exactly?
So it started off. We just offer hauling. Dump trailers. I have two 15-yard dump trailers. Offered to.
Hold on, you got two?
Yeah. So so T is for Tony.
Okay.
Is my partner. He was the one I was telling you about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm Bryce, and I figured TB looked better than BT. You know what I mean? So I gave him the front letter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it started off doing that, offering debris removal, junk removal, stuff like that. Have always done side work. And so what we're mainly focusing on right now is we're doing a lot of flooring, a lot of painting, exterior, interior homes, bathroom remodels is a big one right now.
Nice.
So working on that, can pretty much do it all, trying to get more guys under us to where we're that one-stop shop.
So you guys both have full-time jobs, or just you?
Yeah.
Both of you.
So yeah, he's out at Chevron. He's a weld inspector.
Okay.
So he's busy doing all that stuff. He's got 3 young boys, 7, 5, and 3, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in the shit too.
Ooh,
yeah.
You're same age?
Yeah.
As you?
Yeah. We grew up 4 or 5 houses away from each other.
Oh, right.
So we've known
That's
each other.
cool.
All my best friends.
Hey, that's your bro.
Since
that's
we've
your
been
brother.
5, 6 years old, man. Yeah. High school, elementary, high school, all that.
Parents know each other too.
Everybody still knows each other.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So man, we pretty much we're gonna try and pinky in the brain it and take over the world.
I love that. I love it like that. Hell yeah. What are we gonna do today?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do today, brain?
And that's the thing is too is we kind of get tired of man. Do I want to punch time clock for the next 25 years. I would rather not.
Hell no.
I want to figure something out. And he's really, really educated in mold now.
Okay.
Because of the issues he's had with his son and everything else.
Damn.
And he's looking into getting his certificates and stuff like that for mold remediation.
There's a lot of money in remediation.
Exactly.
Remediation.
It's a good business.
So
bro.
whatever avenue we end up taking that's going to be best for us is the way we'll go. You know.
How long you guys been in business?
2 years now, a little bit over 2 years. Yeah, 2.5, 3 years.
So the last 2 or 3 years been a lot of changes.
Yeah,
Not just stopping alcohol, but you change your body, your mind. You start a business. I mean, there's been a lot happening.
I think it all kind of coincided with each other. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, I've always kind of done side work, but then I think once I got sober and started taking it serious, he always says, "Bro, I was just waiting for you, bro."
Wow.
Because he's been sober for 10 or 11 years now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah. He put the bottle down a while back,
on,
and
right
I was always like, yeah, whatever, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
And now I know what he's talking about.
Now you know what he's talking about.
So, I was just waiting for you, man. So, yeah, man, wherever it takes us, but yeah, a lot of residential stuff right now.
Okay. In the area here, or?
Oakley, Antioch. I'm doing one out in Pinole right now. I don't try to go too far right now.
Yeah.
I want to keep it small for now until we can really, really get after it.
You got to be efficient. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Try to keep everything boom, boom, boom. You don't want to be in someone's bathroom for a month, man. You want to be in there week max, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to be on your game.
So what was the mission to start the business for you and Tony?
I think freedom.
Freedom. So not wanting to punch that ticket no more, man. Eventually pull out.
Right.
Start our own.
Yeah, and then, like I said, we both have young kids and families, and hopefully start something to where it can feed generations.
Right.
on top of other families.
Yeah.
Like
bro.
you have 30, 35 guys. You know what I mean? It feels pretty good to be able to put money in people's pockets.
100%, bro.
Where they can do something with it and live, and another form of service.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly
it's not
what
all
it
about
is.
I want to have 50 million in the bank.
No.
What am I going to do with 50 million?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I know what I'd do with it.
Go buy the nicest boat on the block.
I already got it planned. But yeah, so yeah, wherever it leads us is what we're going to do. That's, as long as it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Right
on, bro. So. Okay. So you probably already answered this one, but I'm going to say it one more time. What inspired you guys to start the business?
Like
Same
I said,
thing?
yeah,
Same
it's
thing?
just freedom, man.
I love it, bro.
Yeah. I enjoy making people happy and them being kind of like took back by a job that you did. You know what I mean? They're like, man,
Their reactions, sometimes.
Yeah, like I feel like I have a pretty good eye for things.
Yeah.
People can't see a vision, and they're like, I don't know, you just do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
then
you draw it up for them?
No, I just do it. And then they're like, man, how could you see that? I couldn't see that. You know what I mean?
Right on.
And I said, I don't know. I could just have the ability to see way things will look, or even certain textures and colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I enjoy making people happy, and I take pride in my work and
respect. Have you ever messed around with that app on the laptop where you can kind of like design how?
Like
what you're
AutoCAD?
seeing, like I forgot the name of it. My partner uses it all the time. I don't know how to use it, bro. I'm the sales guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Tony's the computer guy.
Okay. All right. So there you go. But it's cool, man, because we've I don't know how many houses we've done already, but every time before we submit the estimate, right?
I got what you're saying.
He draws it up like how the chimney is going to look with this color and the flooring with this color.
Yeah.
And it has their whole house in there.
Right.
And we do like 5 different options.
It's like
for
a
them.
3D walkthrough.
Yeah, bro. And the way he draws it up real quick, I'm like, God damn, I couldn't do that if I tried to, bro.
We're not there yet, we're coming for you.
Yeah, right on. Hell yeah, bro.
How did the idea of starting the business, like whose idea was it? Was it Tony's? Was it yours? Was it together?
So I had a dump trailer. He has a dump trailer, and
And you're just sitting there.
At one point, yeah, they're just sitting there, you know, and they're, you know, I think about 15 grand a piece or something like that, you know, and one day, actually, for myself, we took a little financial hit for a while at home, and we lost a few $1,000s a month income.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I got to make this up.
Yeah.
So I was like, how am I going to do that? You know what I mean? I don't like taking loans out, and I don't like borrowing money and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, there's that trailer sitting right there. And then you see these trailers everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what the light bulb kind of went off, and went from there. And knowing Nick, you know, he's a real estate guy, and just start networking and reaching out to people, you know. Facebook is awesome. Instagram is awesome.
Right.
People forget that you even do something. They're, oh, hey, do you do this? Or, hey, do you do? I forgot you do that.
Hell yeah.
Come, you know, come give me a price.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? My favorite thing to do is I'll just rent you the trailer for the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
I'll drop
easy.
it off.
That's easy money.
You load it up, I'll haul it off.
Yeah.
And it's gonna cost you the same amount it would cost you to go to Home Depot and buy it or rent it.
Right.
But you don't have a truck.
And you're saving the time, too.
You don't got time. You got to have it back there by, you know, I'm going to be a few hours over. I don't care, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You know what I mean? As long as I have it, if I don't have someone booked up tomorrow, I'm not tripping.
Good.
You know what I mean?
So at what point did you bring Tony? So you started it because you needed to make up the extra money. But at one point does Tony become, and you guys become an actual...
I said, I got a trailer, but I need another trailer because I got another job.
And
you know, and he's always been an entrepreneur and made extra money on the side too. So he, you know, like I said a little bit ago, he said, I was just waiting for you, man, because I knew you had it in you.
That's awesome, bro.
You know, and you know, like if I'm going on vacation or going somewhere and I said, hey, this trailer needs to be over there. Can you handle it? Yep. Yeah. And then so we just kind of bounce stuff off each other. And
so what's been your guys' biggest challenge right now, bro? The challenge where it's like something that happened where it's like, fuck. Have you hit that threshold yet?
Not business wise right now. I think biggest challenge for us to get things moving forward a little bit more is he had severe water damage to his house.
Yeah.
And it's been almost a year and a half, but I think even more.
Yeah.
He was displaced. His whole family was displaced for that long.
Wow.
So yeah, they went from, I think they were living in 3 or 4 different rentals this whole time while it was getting redone and stuff like that. You know,
what took them so long to repair it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, you know, I know a little bit, but I don't want to say I know when I don't know.
100%. Gotcha.
But it was a lot of issues, and so now I just talked to him today. He said he's got a couple more rooms to put the baseboards up in, and then he's good. Yeah. So he's almost there, man. And then he's gonna start working on the advertising and stuff like that more.
That's what I was gonna say. So so you have to have some plan to expand, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people always ask me like, well, how did you get to 35 guys? It's like, bro, you have to religiously be selling. Yeah. Like someone has got to be boots on the ground, door to door, marketing, advertising, calling, sending emails out, bugging people, right? And that's the biggest one, like that I see with a lot of the smaller guys is they're either some just have the excuse that, oh, I just don't got the time. Like, and I asked them, well, dude, if you want to get bigger, right? You have to make the time. Yeah. You know, there's no balance if you have family and you're trying to build a business, right? Unfortunately, it's fucking 70-30, you know, or 20-80. It's just, it is what it is. Call it spade a spade. Yeah. My wife was in my ass all the time because I was, until the day, I'm still always working, bro. If I go on vacation, I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm calling people. I'm texting people. I'm doing a sale. I'm picking up the phone, or I look at an estimate, that all the estimates that are coming through the email, right? And if I have information, I'm calling my partner, hey, adjust this number, adjust that number. We got to get this fixed. And we got 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. The rule of thumb is if we get the estimate, if we get the opportunity, we got to send that thing back out within 24 hours. My number one thing is we have to be fast,
That's
bro.
one thing I've learned too.
You know what I mean?
Your turnaround time on your estimate.
It's got to be fast, bro. Because one thing I learned, especially in my industry, is 9 times out of 10, most of my competitors are gonna wait a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And I'm like, hell no. I've been in this industry for a long time, bro. We gotta be the first ones in there.
Yep.
Right? And once 9 times out of 10, if you're the first one in there, the bar's set right there.
Yep.
Right? Then they're okay, we're waiting a week. We're waiting for these other guys to come in. We're waiting for these other guys to come in.
We could have been done
And I'm
already.
calling them already. Hell, that's what I do. I'm like, hold on, bro. It's been 3 days. We were there not even 3 days ago. You already got the estimate. What's the holdup, man? I got a team that can start right now. We can be done within 5 days. What's going on? Oh, give me one more day. Next day comes, I wait 10 o'clock, I give them a call. Hey, it's been another day. What's going on? Man, you know what? I called them. I'm waiting for the email. Nothing came in. I'm going to send you the contract right now. Bam. You know? So that's one thing I try to teach to everyone, bro, is like, when you get an estimate, you got to get that shit, do your numbers, go to Home Depot, whatever you got to do to find out how you're going to make a little bit of money on this job.
Yeah, what costs
secure
what.
that contract, and let's get it.
Yep.
Right? So what are you guys doing right now for marketing, bro, to expand?
So right now, that's all I've been doing is just word of mouth.
Okay.
Facebook, when I finish a job or I start a job, pictures and stuff like that. Knowing that we're not quite ready to start the advertising, but now that he's right there at the end, it's go time. So hopefully within this next year, you're gonna see some expansion and some growth.
Not hopefully, bro.
Yeah.
Not hopefully.
What am I saying?
Come on,
what am
big
I saying
dog.
right
Come
now?
on. Come
But
on.
yeah, man, it's just like you said earlier, some guys that don't want to grow or something like that, or don't grow.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of them have that vision. You know what I mean?
Bro.
I think a lot of them really just like, okay, well, I want all the money for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna do the tile. I'm gonna do the texture. I'm gonna do the baseboards. I'm gonna do all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you need a team in there doing something. So you can be on the next one, getting the next one, and then getting the next one. You know what I mean? You gotta scale.
Yeah, bro.
You know, I like I said earlier, I don't want to be swinging the hammer at 60 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean that's the ticket too, though, bro. Is you can't grow your business if your hands and knees down there and you're fucking eyeballs deep into the mud trying to get things fixed. I mean, who's advertising?
Right.
Who's out there selling?
Yep.
Right. Because I tell people, I mean, one thing I've learned and I've witnessed it with my own eyes is the team that is not selling religiously is gonna lose, right? Because eventually those sales are gonna stop. The phone is gonna stop ringing, right? Nobody's talking about you. Nobody's having anything to say about you, right? There's just no information about you out there, bro. So one thing I would tell you, bro, is once you guys are finally locked in there, it's got to be 24/7. You got to sell 24/7, not just Facebook. You know, you got to talk to a marketer, someone who can pump you on Google, on Yelp, people who can put your name out there, bro. It's worth spending the money because at the end of the day, bro, a month or 2, 3 goes by, it starts to come back tenfold.
Get your return.
You get that return, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing. That's the plan. Like I said, and he wants to be the head forefront of that.
Yeah.
So, I got all the faith in him in the world. So I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know. Hopefully we get that big one, man.
You will, bro.
You know what I mean?
You will, dude. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's see here. There was a quite, where is it at, bro? So, did I ask you this one or no? I don't think so. Tell me something you've learned in the last year about business. Like, what is something that just like surprised the shit out of you? Like, oh, damn. Because I've had like 1,000 of them.
Well, we touched on it just a minute ago with getting your estimate back to the people. Fast.
Yeah.
You know,
communication, bro.
Oh, that's the biggest. You know, like I'll go to a job. At a job this Saturday. We were gonna start Monday, and I said, "Hey, can we start Saturday? Are you okay with that?" You know, called her, and she's a nice older lady, and just the little things. So there was a guy selling flowers on the corner.
Yeah. Smart.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Who else is going to show up with flowers
yeah.
Mother's Day?
That's right.
The day before
Yeah.
Mother's Day. Now it's like, okay,
It's those little things.
Now her son's got to go get a bigger bouquet.
Yeah, bro. It's those little things.
Yeah, you
bro.
know, other jobs too. You know, we'll be on them with other you know, painting contractors or whoever got that bid or whatever.
Right.
I'll buy them all lunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because one day I'm gonna need them, or one day they're gonna need me. You know,
it's keeping those bridges tight, dog. That's another thing, man. Like, bro, I just don't get it. I for the life of me, I get it now because I understand how dumb they are.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you don't treat. I've never treated people like shit for no reason, bro.
Right.
Right. No matter how big I get or whatever, bro, I treat people with respect, man, and kindness. Right. I have empathy.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if we're working with each other, you're helping me, I'm helping you, I'm keeping you busy, you're helping me get this job so I can move on to the next one and get 10 more of these bad boys, right?
Yep.
And my word to them is you do good work, bro. You communicate, you're here on time, right? If for some reason you're late or you're going to be late, just call me, right? And I've seen on the other spectrum where guys are like, oh, this guy was late, 2 minutes because he had to drop off his kid, but he didn't tell me. Fuck him, he's fired.
Yeah, it's
right.
stupid.
And then 2 weeks later, oh man, I need guys here. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna finish on time.
Right.
And in the back of my head, I'm like, but that's what
you get.
You're a dummy, bro.
Yeah.
You're doing it to yourself.
You did it to yourself.
Everyone has a life outside of work. You know what I mean?
And I think that's where like a lot of business owners, they forget that. I mean, in order for me to have gotten to where I'm at today, I've had to be an employee too, right? I had to climb up the ladder, so I don't forget how that felt like, right? And for me, it's like, you know what? There's times that you have a kid, your kid's sick. Hey man, hey boss, tomorrow morning I'm supposed to be there at 10:30 at that appointment. Can I get there at 11:30? I'll make up the hour at the end of the day or during the week, wherever you need me to. But I need that time.
Yeah.
Right. And I there were some people who worked with me, and there were some that didn't. Right. But now that I'm on this side of the fence, right, I understand, like, people have lives, people have issues, and as long as they're communicating and the respect is there, right, we work with each other, bro.
Yep.
And a lot of these guys don't get it, bro. And then they wonder why their business isn't growing, or they have upset employees who are just not happy, right, or they're envious, or they're stealing from them constantly, or whatever the case is, bro.
Right.
Right? So that's one thing I would tell you, bro, is, man, just when you have your core guys, bro, I mean, you already know it because you're a kind dude, bro. You got a big heart. You're only as good as your team.
Yeah.
And how well you take care of them,
Yeah.
That's one thing that I learned from my partner, Ivan, because he comes from a different industry. He operated with like over 80 guys and pivoting schedules throughout the whole day, every day, different job sites. You have 40 guys here. You need to move 20 of them to this one because something happened over here. Then you need to move these 6 over here at the end of the day to get caught up on this job site. Like, he saw it, but he knew how to talk to people the right way. He wasn't talking at them. He was talking with them.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
100%. And like you said, you have to be that way. That's, the couple good guys that I have right now, is I know how they both operate.
Yeah.
I got one guy. I say, hey, we're gonna be there at 9.
Yeah.
And he'll be there at 8:30.
Yeah.
He'll be cleaning the tools. He'll be organizing.
Getting ready.
He'll be doing stuff like that. Now, there's this other guy. I say, hey, I don't even say, hey, we're gonna be there at 9. I say, hey, we're gonna be there at 8.
Yeah. Because you know how he
he's gonna be there at 8 because he's gonna be there 45 minutes late. So,
but you know
he hasn't
that
caught on yet.
Just don't send them this podcast.
But and on top of that, depending on the weeks we're working, because like I said, I don't need them all the time yet.
Yeah.
It's lunch every day. Hey, they still smoke. Hey, you need a pack of Reds? I got you. I got you, and I got lunch in that. And the other guys that they work for, they're just paying them their hourly rate. And if we finish and people are happy, I give them more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I got to keep the good ones around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sheesh, bro.
But you also got to share, right? I think the more you share the wealth, the more it comes back.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if sometimes you don't win all the time, or in some of my earlier ones, I would be working for free.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But I got the job done.
Yes.
And they were happy.
Yes.
And this guy got paid.
Yes.
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 And then, like you were saying, it's some of these other contractors, they want all the money for themselves, but then when they need somebody, they ain't got nobody.
They ain't got nobody.
You know what I mean?
Wonder why they always finishing last, though, bro.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we get a lot of, not heat, I don't want to say heat, but there's a lot of competitors and or like, you know, we've moved up a couple thresholds because of how big we got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of jobs and how big the jobs have gotten. Like right now, we're locking one in for fingers crossed it's going to happen. I see it, I feel it, I believe it. I'm bringing it to the universe from over here. But in San Diego, it's a over 800 unit renovation.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the common areas, the hallways, the offices, the bathrooms. It doesn't include what we're going to be doing in the garages,
Yeah.
the maintenance shops.
Wow.
It's a doozy, bro.
Yeah.
Right? On top of that, we have so many more, but my point is you bro, like we've reached a different threshold where now like guys that we used to look up to, like, damn, you know, those guys are doing
Those
great.
big dogs.
We're kind of got onto that field now. So now, before they would talk to us and give us information, where now they're like, no, hold on, bro. Danny, you too nice, bro. I ain't talking to you no more, Danny.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the whole purpose of being able to catch up to the guys you look at.
Yeah.
You look up to, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Because to me, I've always got to put a target onto something. If I don't put a target, then what am I doing this for?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned it. Now, something I want to talk on is generational wealth.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people, I really don't think a lot of people understand what that is or how you get there. Right? And that's still something for me that I'm still chasing. I'm building it. I'm putting pieces and tools together for it. I'm talking to financiers, insurance people, bankers, loan officers, trying to educate myself, you know, where can I put this money? How does this work? Life insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when I talk to other guys, like, they're just like, no, dude, I just want to buy the biggest house on the block and buy a big ass boat. And
You know what comes with that? Big PG&E bill.
Exactly, bro.
Big gas tank in that boat.
Yeah, big gas tank on that boat. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of times they're just not financially literate.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I'm still illiterate. I consider myself, because that's what forces me to continue to learn it, bro, and ask all the questions. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that I'm there yet, but I think I'm on the right direction for it. But for you, what is your first step to start creating that besides your business?
My first step is to, you know, I've made some dumb purchases in the past.
Yeah.
And to recognize
All of us,
my behaviors
All of us.
with money. And, you know, like I might tell my wife, hey, money's tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we don't put anything on credit cards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of people I know, oh, my credit cards, I ran it up 20,000 again, and I'm like, man, like that, I'd have a stroke, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't get me wrong, I've done it in the past.
Yeah,
you know. But those dumb mistakes and not really knowing when I was younger about interest rates and stuff like that, you know. I wish, you know, things could be different, right? I wish I knew about investing in the stock market and stuff like that earlier on. That way I would have been a little bit more financially responsible with my money and invested more. Yeah. But it's never too late, bro.
It's too time to plant a tree, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You know, and I, you know, you see these videos on, like, some people didn't make it until they were 50. Like, and there was a lot of people that you look at, celebrity wise or whatever, or really, really well off people, like, they didn't make it till they were 50.
Yeah.
I got 8 more years. You know what I mean?
100%.
So,
but you said it again on the last podcast, and you hit it right out the park, bro. Like, your second part of your life as a man doesn't really start till you're 40.
Yeah.
Because the whole first 40 years you're learning, bro.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And look at you now. I think you're probably in the best shape of your life almost.
Yeah. I weigh the same as I did in junior college. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the difference is you're a lot wiser
Oh,
up here.
I was still partying.
Exactly.
I was still drinking, but I was just running a lot more.
Exactly, bro. But you're sharper now.
Oh,
you got
100%.
wisdom. You've had
Life.
failures, life, you know, marriages, split ups, whatever. But you got kids, you got experience.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I want to tell, like, a lot of these men, like, a lot of them, you know, bro, like, I've never compared myself to anyone, right? Because I did one time, and I found myself getting bitter and a little bit envious. And that's just not in my heart, right? And when I felt that, I was like, I'm never doing that shit again. I am me. I can only be me. There's only one me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever I can in my power to push myself forward and try to take people along with me.
Yeah.
I started 2 businesses. One of them, I have my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law. I brought them with me. Right now, they got their own house. They're sitting good. Right, I put them in a good position. I started another business with my partner Ivan. You know, I put him in a good position. I put Juan's in a good position. We got 3 families that are sitting right. The last thing we got to worry about is money and just really just growing this business. This business can be as big as we want it to be.
Yeah.
It could be $100 million company by the next 5-10 years, bro.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like, I try to tell a lot of guys, don't compare yourself, bro, because once you do that, you start getting sad, you start getting depressed. How come I'm not doing it the way he's doing it, or how come he's successful and I'm not? What am I doing wrong? If you just stay focused on you and you focus on you 100%, and you just don't compare yourself to no one and just keep moving forward, you're gonna be great, bro.
Yep. And whatever you do, right?
And whatever you do.
Yeah, because there's guys that make a buttload of money that are lenders or through financials and stuff like that, or guys like you that through the trades, and you know what I mean. It's like there's not one way to make it. You know what I mean,
bro.
And you have your way, and I have my way.
There's 9 ways to skin a cat, brother.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's like you said, you can't focus on no one else.
No,
Just
and
focus
also
on what you're doing.
success is individual. Like what success looks like is different for you, is different for you, is different for me.
Yeah,
100%.
And if you're just your target is on somebody else, then you're going after somebody else's success, not yours.
exactly.
You know, you got to make sure you stay focused on
What
yourself
what
and your true dream and what is success to you. And it's different for everybody. Some people want $100 million. Some people just want, to retire somewhere in another country and they need a couple million and they're good. Whatever that is, that's what you should go after.
Yes. Definitely.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? I mean,
Absolutely. So I got 2 questions to wrap this up. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of another throwing a little wrench in the conversation one. All right. What character in any movie or show you ever watch best relates to who you are and why?
Man, I don't really watch too many shows and movies.
Don't say Scarface, bro. Everybody says Scarface.
And maybe because it's just recent. Last night I was watching this movie called The Green Book.
The Green Book.
It's The Green Book. It's about a musician. I forget his name. It was back in the 50s?
That sounds familiar,
in New York. It was this Italian guy that drove for a black artist. That,
yeah.
And he did like orchestra type music and stuff like that. And I kind of relate to him because he was kind of rough and rugged around the edges, but like he made sure he took care of his guy. Back then that wasn't. It was down in the South when they were traveling down in the South and everything else. He wasn't, getting pulled over and beat up and stuff like that. But one of the things that stuck out to me, he said he's a good bullshitter. You know what I mean? Tony did, the Italian.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he goes, why do you think you wanted to be a liar?
Yeah.
What you're happy, you're happy with that people think you're a liar? He goes, I'm not a liar.
Yeah.
He goes, I could just bullshit with anyone. I could talk anyone into anything. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was, but he was just himself.
Yeah.
He told it like it was. He didn't take no shit, and he didn't let no one pick on nobody. You know what I mean?
He was a good dude, right?
He was. Yeah. And they ended up being best of friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's been a while.
Yeah,
That's a good movie.
and I'd wanted to see it years ago, and I'd forgotten about it, and then it popped in my head, and then I ended up watching it last night, and I could say Denzel Washington in Training Day, but he's just my favorite actor.
Hell yeah, bro.
But nah.
what about, you mentioned, and I'm assuming you watched it because you mentioned it, Pinky in the Brain.
Yeah.
Which character are you? And if you had to pick one of them,
I don't know. I think sometimes I'm Pinky and sometimes I'm the brain. Yeah.
We all are,
Yeah.
bro.
I think
that's the honest answer.
we both bounce our dumb bullshit ideas off each other and figure out which one's gonna work best.
But that's the funnest part about building a business,
Yeah.
bro. Is man, like I can ramble on about this shit, but the one thing, like I'm not scared to fail, bro. I tell people all the time, I don't fear anything in business anymore, bro.
Yeah.
That when I decided to burn the ships, something just happened, bro. Like some unbelievable belief happened, right? And then Alliance took off, started getting businesses. I mean, work. We got really big, fast, right? And everything was happening. And then Ace kind of landed on my lap, and then I just saw it in my head, bro, like how this was gonna work, and it was gonna work fast. I saw this vision, and what happened, like not even like less than 2 years, it just fucking like wildfire, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And like, so now I tell my team, man, let's fail often, because the more we fail, the faster we're gonna learn and the better we're gonna get.
Through every failure,
faster.
you're learning.
Like, so I tell people like me, bro, I'm just shooting from the hip, bah, 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 bah. Where most people spend their entire life trying to aim to get that one hit, right? And I've been shooting so much, I collected 20, 30, 40 hits already, baby.
Right.
And you're still trying to get one. Yeah, I missed maybe 50, 60 times, right? But I still got 60 of them.
Right.
And you're still working on one, big dog.
Yeah.
Right? And so I try to tell that analogy to a lot of like small entrepreneurs, like, bro, you just got to go after it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
If you fail, learn from it, get your ass up, learn how to fail fast and fail faster and faster, but at the same time, learning.
Just like Nike, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it, brother.
Yeah.
It's the truth,
You've
man.
told me that, and Adam has said the same thing,
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just fucking do it.
You'll figure it out.
Remember, I was telling you at the park. I don't know if you remember. I was like, bro, you were talking about you were starting a business with your partner, and I was like, bro, just fucking roll the dice, do it. Bro.
Was this in San Diego or?
I don't remember, bro. It was at a park.
Okay.
When I think you had first told me that you were asking me some questions, and you were like, yeah, we're talking about, we're gonna do a little. But I was like, man, just fucking do it, bro.
Yep.
Just roll the dice, bro. Grab your nuts and let them just fucking hang, bro.
Yeah.
You know, the worst thing that could happen is you tried it and you didn't do it.
Right.
Right. I talk to 80-year-olds sometimes, bro, and they tell me the worst thing that they ever live with is regret.
Yeah.
Not even trying.
Yep.
Right. And that's one thing that scares me, bro. Like, no, you know what? I'm down to try everything. So now the third one is the roots of ambition, bro.
Yeah.
We want to do this and we want to do it right. We want to interview great people, put their stories out, and hopefully we can get you some customers and we can network, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause we've gotten to the point where we need a lot of subs. We need help. So if I can't do it, break you guys off with something. We make a little something and everybody's happy, bro. We're moving.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the name of the game.
And I love San Diego, so 800 units, bro.
Hey,
I'm
bro,
there.
let's go. Let's go, bro. All right, so here we go. Here, hold on. I was gonna ask you this a certain way. So man, I can't speak. Okay, so there's actually two more questions, right? So this one right here, I want you to look into the camera and speak to yourself 10 years from now. Where are your goals and where you should be in life? What are your expectations? So we can play this back to you in 10 years from now. We're gonna shoot it to you on some kind of application.
Repeat the question.
One more time?
Yeah. Let me hear it.
So look in the camera, speak to yourself 10 years from now. What are your goals? What were your goals? Where should you be in life? And what are your expectations in business, family, kids, etc.? Take your time, bro.
Yeah. What are my goals is to wake up every day, go to the gym, be in still the best shape of my life, having my kids working, hopefully for me. If not, make sure they're happy and healthy. Having multiple employees, being able to run a business from the back end more than the front end, and to keep building and stay busy. I just hope, I don't hope, but I know if I keep at it, it's going to come. It's going to come true.
That's right.
And the sky's the limits. Don't sell yourself short.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
We're going to rewind that to you in 10 years, big dog. Let's go, baby. All right. So, still two more, but real quick. If you won $20 million right now, what are the first three things you would do with your money?
First three things I would do. Well, the first thing I would do is talk to a financial advisor.
Okay.
And then I would ask him what three things I should do with my money.
That's an excellent answer.
Because I have no idea.
Exactly. I think you're the first one to ever answer it like that, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
So, hey, last but not least, tell everyone how they can find your business, who you are, your name of your business, where they can find you, your email, your website, all the information. So anyone watching who lives locally or afar needs some renovations or some repairs at your house, how can they find my boy Bryce Perez?
I'm Bryce Perez with TB Hauling and Construction Services. You can call me at 925-727-4401. Best way to get a hold of me is through text message. If not, leave a message. I'll get back to you. And you can find me in my Facebook is just my personal page, Bryce Perez, and Instagram is BL Perez 83. We have a website. It's not completely up and running yet, but yeah, best way to get a hold of me is go ahead and shoot me a text or give me a call, and I'll get back to you. And we're here to help, and we're here to make sure it's done right, and we're here to make sure you're happy with what you got.
Oh, yeah, bro. Good job, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course,
Appreciate
bro. Yeah,
it.
you did a great job, dude.
Thanks.
You did a great job, man. So, everybody, this is the conclusion of this show with Bryce Perez. I hope that you guys got a lot of information. I know I did. We're gonna put up some before and after pictures of this guy so you can see what he's done, the awesome work he's done, and I know he's still working on it every day. Right, it's not done. Yeah. Not only that, but no matter what you're doing, you can start your business. You just got to believe in yourself. You got to take the risk. You got to roll the dice. But at the end of the day, you have to work hard. Yeah. It's not easy. And if you want it to be easy, it's not worth it. Believe me, I'm sure he can tell you that. He can reiterate it. Angel as well. Angel?
It was nice meeting you. Thanks for sharing with us. We didn't really get into fitness, but next time we'll have you on. Maybe next time we can have Tony on as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro. And we can talk about some different stuff. And but again, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
so appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Hopefully it was comfortable and it wasn't too weird. You seem like after a few minutes you were okay. So
no, like I said, the more you do it, the better you get. That's right. It's just like anything else.
Yeah, and we like to set it up kind of like this way, so it's a little bit more like we're just having a conversation.
Exactly.
Kick back, bro.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for being here. Please follow him, reach out to him if you guys need anything, and we'll be posting all his links that he went over and his phone number on the podcast, so you guys can see in the description.
That's right. So, how'd you say the last time? Like, share, follow, subscribe, and comment.
Comment. Even if you don't like it, put a comment that you don't like it, please. So thank you. This is a wrap. Follow us on the Roots of Ambition. On all the social media, we're under the Roots of Ambition. Thank you for your time.